Michigan heard what the country was saying and shut every single person up, including myself. Before Feast Week, there were a lot of questions surrounding this Michigan team. They didn't look good against TCU, they almost lost to Wake Forest and barely survived with a 1-point win in overtime, and they didn't even look that great in the first half against Middle Tennessee State. And their struggles throughout these games were the same struggles that everyone was concerned with: the turnovers, fouling, lack of three-point shooting, and just not looking like a cohesive unit. And then they did this. Then after they made San Diego State look like a middle school team, they turned around and did the same thing to Auburn. Those two blowouts put them in the championship of the Players Era tournament, where they were playing Gonzaga, who I thought was the best team in the country, the #1 overall team in KenPom, and a team that looked like an absolute juggernaut, until they played Michigan and looked like a 5th grade team. So let's take a deeper look at these 3 games to see how Michigan was so utterly dominant and what changed over the last week for the Wolverines. Entering the game against San Diego State, a lot of people thought this could be an upset spot for the Aztecs. This is one of the best mid-major programs in the country, and they have top 25 talent. Then Michigan proceeded to completely own the interior. They shot 50% from the field, had 28 points off 17 turnovers. They won the rebound count 49-34, and if you thought those stats were crazy, it gets crazier. San Diego State only had 8 assists compared to those 17 turnovers. They shot 7 for 23 from 3 and 10 for 39 from inside the arc. The points in the paint is just silly. Michigan won that battle 38-12. This Miles Bird bucket put San Diego State up 7-5 early in the game, and it looked like it was going to be competitive. And if you blinked, you would have missed it. Over the next 10 minutes, Michigan outscored San Diego State 27-8, and it looked so easy for Michigan. And the theme of this run was their defense. Their guards were doing such a good job of running San Diego State off the three-point line. Then the height, length, and athleticism of their front court prevented San Diego State from getting any layup attempts. They were constantly settling for long contested twos, as that was the only shot they could get. On the other end, they were getting whatever look they wanted. Will Cheddar was knocking down threes, and anytime they missed a shot, they were getting a hand on the rebound, making it a 50-50 ball, and they were getting those 50-50 balls for offensive rebounds. But San Diego State clawed back, and they made it a 12-point game at halftime, and we've seen Brian Dutcher's teams come back from 12-point deficits at halftime. So what does Michigan do out the gate? They went on a 21-6 run to start the second half, and when it got to the under 12 media timeout, this game was over. Even though they put up 94 points, they won this game with their defense. San Diego State couldn't get a thing that they wanted, and they were completely shut down at the rim. These stats are just laughable. They had 6 players in double figures, and everyone that played at least 15 minutes scored 6 or more points. The next night, they were matched up against an Auburn Tigers team that looked very good against Oregon the night prior. Then Michigan proceeded to shoot 50% from the field, 40% from 3. They won the rebound count 51-35, but again, the defensive stats are even crazier. Michigan outscored Auburn 38-20 with points in the paint. Auburn shot 10 for 24 from 3, which is really good, but then they shot 12 for 38 from 2, and they had 3 total assists the entire game compared to 8 turnovers. But unlike the San Diego State game, this was a competitive game throughout the first 10 minutes. Auburn was only down 28-20, and they looked like they could keep up. That is, until Michigan went on a 31-11 run in only 9 minutes to close out the half, and the game was over. The type of dominance they had during this run against Auburn was the exact same as San Diego State. Auburn couldn't get any line drives to the rim, so they were settling for threes. When that shot went up, they had no chance of grabbing the offensive rebound as there were 4 Michigan players in the paint. When Michigan gets the ball in open space, that's when they're at their deadliest. Their three-point shooting is so elite, and then they run the court so well, it allows for cross matches. And if Morez Johnson Jr., Yaxel Lendeborg, or Ade Mata find themselves in a mismatch, they're getting a bucket. The Wolverines were getting whatever they wanted, however they wanted. It didn't matter if they missed a 3 because they crashed the glass so effectively that they were getting second shot opportunities or getting fouled for free throws. I don't know what's crazier, the fact that they held Auburn to only 3 assists in 40 minutes, or the fact that they again had 6 players with double figures and no one scored more than 17 points. But that brings us to the Players Era Championship, where Michigan entered the game as 2.5-point underdogs, and a lot of people, including myself, thought Gonzaga would win this game. Michigan pretty much shut all of that talk up immediately as they started the game on a 24-8 run. They were up 24 at halftime, but they continued to send a message. At the under 12 media timeout, it was 72-41. Then in those next 4 minutes, they ballooned the lead to 89-43. They very easily could have won this game by 50, maybe even 60 points if they didn't take their foot off the gas. The stats from this game are just ridiculous. They shot 60% from the field, 48% from 3, won the rebound count 44-38. They held the Bulldogs to 3 for 22 shooting from behind the arc, and they only shot 22 from 52 from inside the arc. This is one of the best front courts in the country in Braden Huff and Graham Ike. The ability to shut down a front court this good to that extent is something we won't see out of many other teams this season. This time 5 players were in double figures. Elliot Cadeau had 5 points and 13 assists. They're just humming on all cylinders. We've never seen a team blow out 3 really good teams in 3 days like Michigan did. The Players Era tournament looked like what would happen if you put an NBA frontcourt in college. Pure domination. But what changed? How did Michigan go from looking pretty subpar, mediocre around that level, to looking like by far the best team in the country? And my answer to that is the pace. Against Wake Forest and TCU, they were constantly playing in the half court, and that's why they were struggling from time to time. But in this tournament, they were running up and down the court, and it's easier to do that when you're getting stops. But when this team plays in transition, they are so hard to guard because there's always 5 players on the court that need so much attention. It allows this team to play free and with no constraints, and letting the talent and IQ on this team play off of one another. The faster that this team plays, the better that they are. It's not even a debate right now. Michigan is by far the best team in the country. They better be #1 in the AP poll this weekend. This is the best front court in the country. And if they continue to play with this physicality, I don't know how any team's going to beat them. If you're a Michigan fan, I'm very sorry for what I said earlier in the season. And if you made it this far, shout out to you. You the GOAT. I love all of y'all, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.